Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called The Hidden Link Between Mary Magdalene and the Sufis. Activate your light, body, and passion for life through Sufi whirling and divine feminine wisdom. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network. And today is the kind of day that I really love what I do because we get to dive into a really important interface between two lineages that on the surface might seem like dissimilar, but actually have a sacred core that really brings them together in a beautiful way. We're going to get to explore this interface with a true pioneer, a real mystic, a beautiful soul who has taught for Shift a number of times and has really pioneered sacred dance as a way to really express our souls, incarnate more of who we are, and heal the world. Her name is Banafsheh Sayyad. She's a sacred dancer, choreographer, and founder of Dance of Oneness. And really just such a blessing to be with you here. So thank you so much, Banafsheh, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It's wonderful to be with you.
Great. Well, I want to dive in and also let people know that we have a brand new program that we're really excited about with Banafsheh. It's called Activating Your Light Body Through Sacred Dance, and we'll share more about that towards the end of the hour. So, Banafsheh, can you begin our time together with a little bit of your story, your backstory that propelled you into the work that you're leading?
Sure. I'm from Iran and connecting with you today from where I live in the mountains of Topanga, California, which is the ancestral lands of the native Tongva people, whom I salute. I am a dancer, a choreographer, a teacher, as well as an acupuncturist and an herbalist. I have an MFA in dance and choreography and a master's in Chinese medicine. I have always loved to dance, but pursuing dance as a career and prior to that, training in dance met with a lot of resistance from my family and my culture. Islam, that dominates my country, views dance as sinful. And this perspective has shaped the opposition that I faced. This struggle, though, made me intimately familiar with the energy of opposition, be it from outside forces, external forces, or how I internalized it as self-doubt. Yet I didn't let it overcome me and keep me from pursuing my passion, which is one of the reasons I feel such deep empathy with all who have been disempowered in their pursuit of what they love. I feel that I've been called to dance for freedom, to help people free themselves from any kind of bondage through dance and movement. In my country, under Islamic rule, women are terribly oppressed. And in neighboring Afghanistan, the situation is even dire. I feel that one way that those of us who live in different parts of the world can help open the chains is to free ourselves, to come in touch with places that we are not free. We hold ourselves back from living our full potential. Because as we free ourselves, it impacts everyone. So it's very important to question whatever binds us, to really face it and examine it and understand where it's coming from and liberate ourselves.
Hmm.
You know, dance has immense liberating powers, especially for women. It allows us to um, come in touch with what society has forced us to push down and let it come up in our body, let it rise in our body to be seen and heard and loved. And this is the essence of Dance of Oneness, the modality that I have created that is about liberating our body and soul through a synthesis of movement, wisdom, and healing, through the techniques drawing from different modalities like Persian and Middle Eastern dances, flamenco, Tai Chi, Qigong, the Gurdjieff movements, whirling, and freestyle dance. We break free, let our bodies break free from the limitations that are imposed upon us. And through this movement, connect with deeper wisdom,
Mm,
drawing from the divine feminine, Sufi, and Taoist traditions, as well as modern science. The healing aspect of Dance of Oneness, incorporating the chakra system, neuroscience, and Chinese medicine, supports this liberation by harmonizing the flow of energy inside us and bringing us into coherence and balance. So, in essence, Dance of Oneness, the aim of Dance of Oneness is to unify the body, heart, mind, and soul as one and bring us into a oneness with the greater existence. And it's through this union, through this experience of unity, that we experience true freedom, which is the freedom to embody our fullest, most authentic self in total radiance.
mm,
And when we dance to liberate ourselves, we not only uplift our own spirit, free our own spirit, but we contribute to the liberation of all beings.
mm.
I've been dancing, performing, and teaching this style for the past 20 years in many parts of the world, except my own homeland, which I hope to one day. You know, women's public dancing in Iran has been banned since 1979 when the Islamic Revolution happened. It's high time to change that.
Well, I am with you. It's high time to change that. And it's so poetic, the way you shared about the capacity of sacred dance to free our spirits, free our bodies, open us to a really embodied kind of mystical realization. So let's talk a little bit about how this connects with the Sufi tradition and also with Mary Magdalene. So maybe start with the Sufis, and they're one of the lineages, the mystical lineages that really have foregrounded dance as a way to connect with the divine and express the divine. And maybe share a little bit about that history and how it connects to the theme of today.
Well, you know, the dance that is associated with the Sufis, and especially Rumi and the followers of Rumi, is the whirling. And the whirling really puts us in touch with love. It really opens us to love, and it opens us to being carriers of light, becoming really a ray of the sun, which is one of the ultimate stations for many mystical teachings, including the Zoroastrian teachings and the Zoroastrian path and the Toltec, becoming the ray of the sun. So through whirling, which is associated with the Sufis, we come in touch with how we actually open and release what holds us back, free ourselves so we can be channels of light and love in the world. So dance definitely in for Rumi and the followers of Rumi played a very, very central part.
And how does this connect with Mary Magdalene and what and your understanding of her?
Yes, I want to start out by saying that, you know, the veil covering the true story of Mary Magdalene has only recently been lifted, right? She's been speaking to, communicating to many of us through our dreams and our visions and meditations, helping us remember her and thereby remember ourselves. She's a very, very important figure in history. You know, we can now say, we can now know that she was co-teacher with Jesus. She was his beloved companion and wife and the mother of his children. He referred to her as the woman who knew the all. And she's been called a full spectrum of names, right? From prostitute and sinner to priestess in the Isis tradition, and the single most important teacher aside from Jesus in the entire Christian movement, and the carrier of the divine feminine counterpart to Jesus's divine masculine. Um, I feel that in her vast being, she encompasses the lowest of the low and the highest of the high. She's been referred to as anthropos, fully human, divine human. And as completion, as the completion of completions, which is another reference to her, she's accessible to all. declaring to all women, to all men who have been persecuted, who have been disempowered or unfairly judged, that I have been called the worst of names. I have been literally omitted from my rightful place in history alongside my beloved Jesus as his co-teacher and wife and his equal. But I've never cowered. I've never been overcome. I've never given up. And I have re-emerged as your beloved, as your mother, as your friend, to tell you that you're precious, priceless, and that you're the beloved of the beloved. Let no one take that away from you. No one.
Mm.
So this figure who received Jesus's teachings in the fullness of her heart became the living embodiment of his teachings, became living love. And it is her embodied love and her persistence in love that shows us a way through pain and suffering into a deeper wholeness. You know, she's been called the apostle of apostles, right? The teacher of teachers and tower of wisdom. Her title Magdalene comes from the word Migdala, which means tower in Aramaic, the language she and Jesus spoke. Her name in Aramaic is Mariam the Migdala. Jesus says that when all have abandoned me, she shall stand, only she shall stand beside me like a tower. She shall be a tower to my flock. And she holds a healing balm at her heart and shows us a way through loss, through grief, through fear, and the collapse of structures, so many structures around us, the uncertainty, to find a pathway that is marked with beauty, the symbol of the rose, and to remember what is good and true, and to see beauty around us, to see beauty in ourselves and before us, reflecting back to us when we open our heart to receive.
Mm.
And no matter what the storms around us may be, to bear witness to the beauty and the truth in the world, to the light, and to the lovers of beauty, and join our hearts across time and space. You know, she so beautifully proclaimed to the disciples what she had learned from Jesus. And when they accused her of lying, she courageously responded, saying that it is from the truth that I say this, because I've experienced it. I testify to the truth in me. So this is what she calls us into. She calls us to speak our truth, to stand in what we believe in with love, and demand to be heard, demand to be seen, respected, and treated with dignity as we treat others with respect and dignity. You know, she calls us to remember beauty, to dedicate ourselves to beauty. What opens your soul to beauty? You know, what she asked this question, what opens your soul to beauty? What opens your soul to tears? And not the tears of self-pity, but the tears of love, the tears of compassion, of surrendering to grace that brings us into extraordinary healing and renewal. When we follow the thread of our tears at where we've been moved by beauty, by truth, it leads us to the beloved. And I see a deep connection with her, a hidden connection between her and the Sufis who regard the divine as the beloved. You know, there are many references to Jesus in the Sufi tradition, but I have not come across any references to Mary Magdalene, to Maryam, but because she is the teacher of the Gnostics and a leading figure in the Gnostic tradition, I see her glorious teachings echoed in the Sufi path, which is also a Gnostic path. This word gnosis, this Greek word gnosis, means a direct experiential knowledge of divinity in the sense of insight, intuition, understanding, that is based in the participation of not just the intellect, but the whole being. So it's an embodied, ensouled knowing or wisdom, if you will. You know, many associate the Sufi path to Islam. They consider it as esoteric Islam or the heart of Islam. But I see it as much older. I see it as a thread that links us back to the tradition of the divine feminine. The word Sufi for me evokes Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, revered for the Gnostics and especially for the Gnostic Christians. And it is Mary Magdalene, Maryam, who is said to have carried the frequency of Sophia. You know, like Christians, especially Gnostic Christians, the Sufis, including Rumi, Sohrawardi, and many, many others, are very influenced by the Mithraic tradition, the Zoroastrian, and the Manichaean, which are interrelated. The Manichaean tradition, it was founded by Mani, Iranian mystic who lived in the 2nd century AD. And it is a synthesis of the teachings of Zarathustra, Buddha, and Jesus, which spread to many parts of the world and influenced many people, including the Cathars in southern France, who are said to have preserved the teachings of Maryam, of Mary Magdalene, after she sought refuge in southern France, fleeing from Palestine. In the, you know, Mani's teachings, Mani, who is a Gnostic, has a dualistic theology in which on the one hand, there is a transcendent divinity. And then on the other hand, we have the creator of the world, a figure that Plato referred to as the demiurge, the being of with whom we see and we experience in the punishing God, Yahweh, and later Allah. In each human being, there is a divine spark from the supreme divinity that we are meant to uncover, to activate, and to expand so we can become fully human, become divine human, become a divine human. And for Mary Magdalene and the Sufis who really emphasized embodied wisdom and living love in the world, the way we activate and expand this light is through love, through living love, and through wisdom, gnosis. And speaking of anthropos, this status that Mary Magdalene was said to have attained, fully human, complete human, or divine human, the Sufis are also very dedicated to that. We see in the works of the great Andalusian mystic Ibn Arabi, he teaches us about how to become fully human, how to become a divine human that he calls Insan Kamil. And one last thing I want to say, one last parallel between Mary Magdalene and the Sufis that I love so much is this. The Sufis, one of the beautiful names that the Sufis have for the divine is the friend, Dost. And when you're a friend of the friend, you're a friend to everyone. And this is the way a dervish is described. Dervish, which is dervish in the Turkish pronunciation, is and is interchangeable with Sufi, is a friend to all. The lovers and followers of Mary Magdalene refer to her as friend, as she had wanted them to call her. So in a sense, you can think of Maryam, Mary Magdalene, as a dervish.
Hmm. So many fascinating threads you're weaving together historically and mystically. How does all this connect to the light body?
So the light body, this concept is, we learn about this concept in various spiritual traditions across time. And it is a reference to spiritual awakening, to an elevated consciousness, or a deep sense of interconnectedness. And as esoteric and mysterious as this concept is, it really is the birthright of each and every one of us, because we all started as a spark of light in our mother's womb. And when we are born, this spark is felt through us very strongly as love, right? Babies and little children are just full embodiments of love. But as we age, as we grow, we acquire all kinds of buffers and filters, and we become denser and heavier and duller and more opaque, losing our contact with this original spark that the Gnostics call the spark of divinity. So the point is to remember this spark, to activate it, to expand it, to let it fill our whole body and being. But how do you do that? I feel that the tools for this are hidden in plain sight in our language, for example. I love how the English language gives us insight into the nature of light through the different ways that light is used in the English language. We of course have light as in sunlight, which never goes out, we just turn away from it. And we have lightness, being lightweight, lightening our load, lightening our baggage, not carrying the past with us, and processing our unprocessed emotions or thought patterns that weigh us down. We have also being light on your feet. Light on your feet means being agile, being quick yet graceful. And I want to say here that it is important, very important, to release our weight down and relax and connect with the earth in order to become lighter. Because gravity is the foundation of lightness, as is the root of lightness, as Lao Tzu, the great Taoist sage, said. Lightness is associated with buoyancy, with joy, with humor. You can say a light went out in my head, meaning that I got a sudden understanding of something, or I got this great idea all of a sudden. We also have lightheartedness. I love that, being light in our heart. In the Egyptian tradition, when a person, in the ancient Egyptian tradition, when a person died, their heart would be weighed against the ostrich feather of the goddess Ma'at, who represented divine order, truth, and harmony. And if the deceased heart was heavier than the feather, they would fall into the jaws of a monster and cease to exist for eternity. It was said that gratitude keeps the heart light. And that's so, so beautiful. So activating a body of light is about clearing. It's about purifying and decluttering our energy system. It is crucial, essential for our spiritual evolution. It allows us to remember our true nature, our purpose, and to become present in our multidimensional being. This process requires that we expand our consciousness. It requires that we embrace our spiritual essence and integrate it into our daily life. expressing and living it in every aspect of our life. When when we start that, we begin to identify with how we are more energy than matter, yet in matter, living in physicality, lifting, uplifting matter to the level of, to the frequency of energy. We now know that we are 99.99999% energy, and the very tiny 0.00001% that accounts for solidity and the experience of materiality is electromagnetic fluctuation, which means that's also energy. So the invitation is to begin to identify more and more with how we are really more energy than matter.
Mm.
But not as a way that is an escape from the world as we know it, but as a way to uplift the world and lighten the load, lighten the density, bring out all the attributes of light. When we begin to align our thoughts and our feelings and our actions with light, we can illuminate and release negative habits and patterns that weigh us down and hold us back. You know, this process dissolves density. And as I said before, it purifies and declutters us.
Mm.
So we can activate more psychic powers like intuition, heightened intuition, telepathic communication, remote viewing, manifestation, and so on, opening our heart to unconditional love and coming into a sense of oneness, a deeper sense of oneness with all that is, becoming a guiding light in the world.
Mm.
But I know that many people might ask, how do you do that? How do you find the light? How do you expand the light amidst all the turmoil, all the challenges and the grief in our world? And the key is not to turn away from the challenges, not to mask the grief, to see the truth of situations, to shed light and to speak truth are all part of activating the light, holding it and emitting it. Years ago, I was teaching a retreat called Body of Light, and a student of mine asked, what about the body of darkness? You know, we're not denying the dark by applying ourselves to activating our light body. Light and dark are partners, they're dance partners, as we can see in the symbol of the Tao, the yin yang. Dark is not a foe, it is the field of all possibilities, and light shines ever so brightly in the dark. Darkness needs to be understood and assimilated and integrated, and that happens through love, because love is both light and dark and unites the two.
Mm.
When a person, we say, is radiant or exuberant, we're talking about the light they're emanating. And the cause for this light that they're emanating, their radiance, is because of love. When we're in love, we become radiant, we're shiny, we're excited, we're interested, we're inspired. So to live like that, to be in love with life, to be excited and passionate about life, fills us with light. So really, how to activate this body of light is through love, because light and love are inherently linked. When you love deeply, your light shines brighter. So really, maybe a better title for what this course is would be Activate Your Body of Love.
Love it. Well, you speak in just beautiful poetry, Banafsheh, and I know there's so much you can share. And I wonder if you want to take us into the guided process now, which really gives people a chance to feel and savor and activate this feeling of divine embodiment themselves.
Sure, I would love to. I'm going to guide everyone into a short practice that I call the Rose of Light. The rose is a central symbol for Mary Magdalene as well as the Sufis, representing the heart opening to divine revelation and love. I'm also going to be mentioning what I feel are 3 requirements for activating our body of light, which include being, stillness, and silence. And I'll weave this into our practice, Rose of Light. Okay, so let's start with rolling our shoulders and loosening up our neck and shaking in our own way, shaking to free ourselves of what might be constricting us in this moment. Bring in the healing shaking to places that you feel you need to be more open. Take deep breaths. Bring your shaking to a stillness, please. Standing with your feet a little bit wider than your shoulders and letting your knees be soft. We'll come to the first requirement of activating a body of light, which is to just be. Be an awareness, a consciousness, energy, or the desire to just be. As a society, we are all so programmed to do and achieve that simply being is work. We need to work at it. Being is presence, right? And it has layers and layers. You can go as deep as forever. So let's begin by going deeply into presence and let our movements emerge from there. Can you please play the music? So stillness is the second requirement, the second prerequisite to activating our light body. Come into stillness. Being still and knowing. Be still and know. So here I'm going to ask you to bring your hands onto your belly. Keep your knees soft, relaxation in your hips, sensing the ground with your feet. I'm going to invite you into box breathing, meaning you take the same count for your inhalation, holding the breath, and for your exhalation, and then holding the breath. So we will take 4 counts to inhale, expanding our belly to start with and growing into our chest with our breath. Hold for 4 counts. And exhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. And hold for 4 counts. So I'm going to ask you to do this at your own tempo of counting. You can close your eyes if you wish. As you're taking these deep, slow breaths, visualize a rosebud in the center of your heart. The color that you love, the color of rose that you love. This rose symbolizes your innermost essence, filled with potential and beauty waiting to unfold. Feel how with each breath you expand the petals of this rose. You let your rose bloom even more, and coming in touch with how your rose starts to emanate light as it opens. We're now going to bring our hands, move with our hands and arms. You can open your eyes or keep them closed. But we want to synchronize our breath with the movement of our arms, inhaling, arms open and holding, exhaling, bringing hands closer in and holding. And each time that you inhale, sense the rose in your heart expand. When you play the music, we've come to the third requirement of activating a body of light, third prerequisite, which is silence. Silence. The ability to be in silence or the desire to be in silence. So please close your eyes and sensing the ground with your feet, stay balanced. And now that your heart has blossomed, the rose in your heart has blossomed fully with its light radiating softly in a steady way. I invite you to return to the way we were breathing earlier and sense the light from your rose heart moving into the different parts of your body. Filling up your arms, your hands, and traveling down into your abdomen, into your hips, your legs, your feet. And from your heart, filling your chest, your neck, your head. Letting your whole body be filled with this soft, tender light. And with your eyes closed, I'm going to ask you to bring your palms together. Your palms carry your heart energy. The heart meridian ends in the palms. And I'm going to ask you now to bring your palms onto your face and touch your face, feeling its soft velvetiness like a rose. Sensing your own beauty, your inner beauty and your outer beauty. Bringing your palms in front of your face now and take a deep whiff of your own fragrance, smelling your own fragrance. تو را بگویم پنهان که گل چرا خندد که گل رخیش به کف گیرد و بین بوید. The translation of this verse recited by Rumi in the original Persian means, let me tell you a secret of why the rose is laughing. It's because she's holding her essence, her roseness in her palms and smelling it abundantly, filling her senses with her own perfume. Bringing your hands onto your heart. What is your essence? What is your essence? What is your unique gift? Your fragrance, your frequency that you and only you can emit in this garden of life. tend to it, nourish it, honor it, and stay in it with all your tenderness and strength, your softness, your adoration, and your thorniness, your ferocity. Trust it. Trust it and let it guide you. Open your heart, open your being, so that each of us can be a radiant rose and a loving gardener of this garden, destined to be paradise. This gift we've been given. So please now take a deep breath in and open your eyes with your exhalation, letting the light of your heart emanate from your eyes. Thank you so much.
Well, Banafsheh, that was just exquisite. There's just such a enormous tenderness that you have about how to move with your body and call in a deeper relationship to really see our bodies as temples for and vessels for divinity. So beautiful. I wonder if you can share a little bit about how do you build on a practice like that and deepen with it.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Yes, so um, definitely adding more steps, but really inviting people to go deeper. Because sometimes we might be doing the same movement, but um, there's so much to include when it comes to being, you know, and which I was talking about a little bit, how being is kind of a prerequisite for activating the body of light to just simply be. And when you move, you want to be present, right? You want to be able to fill up the volume of your body and connect with your soul. And this happens so beautifully in dance. And one reason that is because we dance to music, right? And the music really opens our heart, and it adds to this, adds to the quality that dance has to be a kind of poetry in motion, to be art. Because, you know, there's all kinds of movement, and I love all kinds of movement. I think we all people should move more and more, as much as we can, so that we can, you know, not be stuck, obviously. But dance is one of the most beautiful ways to move, and one of the most beautiful ways to embody ourselves, because it asks us to be artful, to be creative.
Hmm. I wonder if you can connect this to another theme that we said we would talk about some today, which is the map of ascension that Mary Magdalene really articulated.
Yes, yes, that is definitely one of the areas that we would be focusing on in our upcoming course in the 12 weeks that we'll have together. So this map, it's is explained in the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. It is a map of ascension, an inner ascent through various levels of consciousness. And I really see it as a map to becoming fully human, to becoming a divine human. It's an ascending through 8 levels or boughs of what Mary Magdalene calls the great tree within. And this tree, it symbolizes the connection between earth and spirit, physicality and energy, where the roots are in the earth. The roots are in the earth, in physicality, and the branches reach up toward the divine. So this bridging of the two, and this uniting of the matter and spirit, matter and energy in the body, it works very beautifully with the process of working with the chakras. As we travel through the journey through the chakras, we open and clear and balance each energy center, and we rise through the chakras. In Mary Magdalene's map, at each level, the person, the individual sheds a layer of their ego or false identity to activate an aspect of their true divine nature. And this process brings together, fuses the energy of the divine feminine and the masculine, inviting us into a greater wholeness. The key tool, the main tool of ascension through this tree is unconditional love. That is a flower with 5 petals. Trust, surrendering to life, gratitude, compassion, and service to life. So 5 petals of this flower of unconditional love. So the way we will be using this map is in conjunction with the chakras as we move and dance at each level, at each energy center, to come in touch with the energy of that chakra to open, clear, and balance. We also explore what Mary Magdalene maps out in this blueprint that she has shared with us in the Gospel of the Beloved Companion.
Mm. Well, Banafsheh, there's just so much wisdom and depth of beauty in how you talk about the spiritual path, how you embody it through dance, and really offering this luminous roadmap to our awakening in body, and to really see this as the vehicle for making a evolutionary leap forward. So beautiful. I want to spend some time now talking about explicitly about your upcoming program, since it's really an incredible opportunity to do this deep transformational opening and to realize the fruits of that in a joyful embodiment. So we're really blessed. Banafsheh has agreed to teach a brand new program. It's called Activating Your Light Body Through Sacred Dance, Grounded Ascension Through the Chakras, inspired by Mary Magdalene to illuminate your purpose, passion, and presence. The URL for the program is at lightbodysufidance.com, lightbodysufidance.com. It's a 7-week program. You don't have to have any dance background. Banafsheh will really invoke you into this deeper, more sensuous, more ecstatic, more divinely embodied relationship with your body, your light body, and ultimately your soul. And so, Banafsheh, I'd love for you to share about some of your intentions for this program and what people can expect. And then I'll read out the module titles so you can give us a preview of what's coming.
Sure. You know, this course offers a unique blend of joy and depth, uplifting your spirit while guiding you in profound transformation. It's designed to accommodate different it's designed to accommodate participants of different backgrounds, from beginners to more advanced movers and dancers, where people are really invited to journey at their own pace and tune in, tap into their fullest potential. You know, whether you're a beginner or have years of experience, you will discover immense, boundless power within you to come into coherence and balance, and ultimately create greater health and a more vibrant life. For the people who've taken courses with me before, this experience offers fresh material and an opportunity to go deeper than ever before. You know, we will embark on a powerful journey of clearing, purifying, and detoxifying our energy system. And when we raise our frequency after the purification, the clearing that we do, this raising of our frequency ripples into every aspect of our daily life. So we will be naturally drawn to purifying our diet, to improving our health, to simplifying our life, and to decluttering our mind, our body, and our home. We will be cleansing the mind of unconscious negativity around how we're not good enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not young enough, I'm not rich enough. We will break free of the negative self chatter and also unblock blockages that are from our life, our own life, our past experiences, our past lives, and even ancestral patterns. Because this is what it takes to activate our light body and to go to the next level of our being, where we live with more clarity and with more vitality and purpose.
Module 1 is called Mapping the Journey of Spiritual Ascension with Sacred Dance, Mary Magdalene, the Sufi Path, and Rumi.
So here we'll map out the journey ahead. We'll explore, the chakra system in brief, the Chinese meridians, and how we will be exploring key acupoints as we go through the modules. And we'll get an introduction to the Sufi path and the teachings around the great tree within from Magdalene.
Module 2, Journey into the Root Chakra to release judgment, ground in love, and dedicate your dance as a prayer to Gaia.
So here we'll balance and embody the root chakra as we embrace the sacred teaching of this chakra, which is all is one. And we'll explore the first bough of Magdalene's great tree within, which is about releasing judgment and wrath to establish love and compassion as the first step toward activating your light body.
Module 3, Release ignorance and intolerance and activate wisdom and understanding in the sacral chakra through ecstatic dance and holy sensuality.
Yes, so you'll be here, people will be guided to dance freely and ecstatically to express and celebrate their sensuality as natural and as holy. Here at the second bough of the great tree within, we'll learn how we need to release ignorance and intolerance so we can open to wisdom and understanding.
Module 4, Release duplicity and arrogance and activate self-love, honor, and humility in the solar plexus chakra through the fiery flamenco and your inner sun.
So if we are to ascend and expand our consciousness, we need to be humble. We need to have integrity and authenticity as well as sovereignty. As a humanity, we're learning to fully step back into our sovereignty, something that we haven't known and experienced for millennia. Light is fire, and we will ignite the fire of passion with movements inspired by flamenco that activate self-authority and empower us to take up residence in our body with sovereignty, love, and humility.
Module 5, integrate your root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras to expand and amplify their energy and yours.
So here we'll delve into how the first three chakras are interconnected, and we explore how their energy works together as we activate our light body and ascend through the upward spiral. The synergy of these three chakras make for a very powerful constellation in dance and movement. And it's also important to know that these are the three chakras because they're the chakras that we engage in much more in our daily living. They tend to be more blocked, so we want to spend more time.
Module 6, the Heart Chakra, Part 1, Release fear to activate courage and awaken your greatest divine power.
So here we come into our heart chakra. We will do movement, the waves of love that bring us into our heart chakra. And we will also dance to release fear and activate strength and courage, balancing them with unconditional love.
Module 7, the Heart Chakra, Part 2, Disidentify with your emotions, activate your full potential, and enter the divine field of oneness.
This is where in this module we'll explore how love is the most powerful state of being and what it means to transcend what Mary Magdalene refers to as the master of the world and the deceiver, the demiurge that I referred to earlier, the source of the illusion of fear. And we will also learn here that in order to activate the light body, we need to learn how to disassociate or disidentify ourselves with our emotions, to really feel that we are not our emotions. We are something greater than that.
Module 8, Sufi whirling and chanting to activate clarity and truth in the throat chakra and recognize yourself as a child of living spirit.
So here we'll we'll be initiated into the sacred dance of whirling, and we will also chant. This is the domain of our throat chakra, where we are invited to find our authentic voice and listen, attune to ourselves to guidance. In Mary Magdalene's teaching, along the great tree within, once you transcend the illusion of fear through courage and strength, then you're able to activate clarity and truth.
Module 9, release attachment to your thoughts and activate power, healing, and inner vision with the third eye chakra and sama.
So here we come to the third eye chakra. We will explore the pineal gland and how to activate it. We will also deepen our experience with the whirling, and also understand power and healing, the power of healing.
Module 10, journey into the crown chakra and the sacred spiral to disidentify with limitations and be filled with the light and goodness of spirit.
So here on the crown chakra, we'll explore our connection to spirit and to the greater field of consciousness. We will explore spirals that are the most advanced way for humans to move. And at the great tree within, the bough of the great tree within, this is where we are filled with the light of goodness, that is spirit.
Module 11, embody the grace and beauty of spirit through the soul star chakra to access higher awareness.
So here we come to the domain of the soul star chakra above our head, located above our crown, and experience the activation of the soul star chakra, and the light that pours in into our body through the soul star chakra. We will also explore Sophia, the goddess of wisdom here, and her guidance for us.
And finally, experience yourself as light and love in action.
So here in our last class, we will review and integrate what our journey has been, and find ways to really bring everything we've learned into our daily life.
Well, what a beautiful program. And I know you just create such an incredible sacred environment. It's really just a sanctuary for deep, soulful embodiment, ecstatic opening, and really coming to a different relationship with how spirit incarnates into form in our lives. It's heaven on earth. And so what a beautiful offering. And again, it's laid out in detail, lightbodysufidance.com, lightbodysufidance.com. It is a 12-week program. There's you'll get not only the 12 90-minute live sessions with Banafsheh, which includes time to ask your questions live. You'll also get recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts to study and highlight. There's weekly exercises at home. There's Facebook community to deepen your experience with community around the world. There's also small group time to connect with other participants. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses. There's a guided practice with Banafsheh to experience the one sensation. It's called Dance of Oneness Soulful Stretching Routine. It's also a video interview with Banafsheh from our Psychic Summit called Activate Your Intuition with Sacred Dance. And finally, there's one special bonus you get if you sign up right away by midnight. And this gives you a little extra encouragement to tune in, take the time. And if you're getting the sense to move forward, then you're going to get Celebrate Rumi's Birthday live online with Banafsheh. It's a Zoom talk and movement meditation and guided dance. And Banafsheh, you want to share a little bit more about celebrating Rumi's birthday live with you?
Yes, so this will be a great opportunity to honor the messenger of love, who is Rumi, and do a little bit of movement, and share some of his poetry, and just remember him.
Well, what a beautiful, beautiful offering. And that's a great extra reason to sign up right away. So you can find all the details again at lightbodysufidance.com, lightbodysufidance.com. And you'll get that special bonus if you sign up right away. We've kept the investment very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $219, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $597. The course is going to start on October 10th and run Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, which you can really keep coming back to for years to come, as well as the transcripts in the community. And we know from multiple courses now with Shift, just people love studying with Banafsheh. It is like just opening yourself to the divine nectar in embodied form. It's such a beautiful spiritual practice to open in this way and to really realize what a blessing it can be in our lives. So thank you, Banafsheh, for really creating this program and partnering with us and really dedicating your life to sacred dance as a vehicle for ascension, light body activation, for bringing more of our souls home to this planet. So thank you so much. And anything that's still on your heart that you want to share with folks who are considering doing this 12-week course with you?
Yes, you know, while activating our light body brings profound personal benefits, like dramatically improving the quality of our life, it is not just for ourselves. It also serves the greater good. It contributes to the evolution of all of life. You know, when we embody higher consciousness and radiate light, we anchor this divine energy on earth and play a vital role in the spiritual evolution and ascension of our planet. We are at a pivotal time in our history where our choices and our intentions and our actions hold immense power. What do you choose? Will you cling to fear and division, separation, and the outdated power structures that have dominated our world for millennia? Or will you rise, evolve, and contribute to the evolution of our world into a new era, one that celebrates the interconnectedness of all that is and the infinite potential within each and every one of us? Join me, so together we can dance to usher in this new era.
What a beautiful invitation. Thank you, Banafsheh, for the blessing of your teachings, your presence, and your presence. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. And if you'd like to go further with Banafsheh, you will be very grateful that you did, I am quite sure. And again, the program she's offering is Activating Your Light Body Through Sacred Dance, Grounded Ascension Through the Chakras, inspired by Mary Magdalene to illuminate your purpose, passion, and presence. And you can find it at lightbodysufidance.com and get that special bonus if you sign up by midnight, which is called Celebrate Rumi's Birthday Live online with Banafsheh. So thank you so much. Many blessings.
Or people that have never really even worked with their intuition at all. They might even think they're not intuitive. And I think this, I just joke, my husband, he's my hardest client. He's like, he's a tech guy. And he's like, I don't have any intuition. Now he's out teaching it to his teams because he's realized that, wow, this is actually real. So I think for me, some of the most exciting transitions have been, really showing people, witnessing their intuition, witnessing these impossible things happening. Like being able to recognize that you have a calling to create a business or start a new project, and you're not sure why, but it's on your heart and you want to do it, and you get out there and you do it, and you actually create something that's powerful and transformative and it changes people's lives. Like these kind of things happen all the time because intuition is so deeply tied to your calling and your life purpose. It's also really powerful in terms of our safety and in terms of, our self-awareness. I've had students tell stories about being in situations where they felt like their life was in danger and their intuition cued them off that sense of knowing that something wasn't right and learning to trust that and learning to trust ourselves. So it's so key. I mean, when people say trust yourself a lot, and it's sort of one of those, things we hear a lot in the spiritual community, but it's really powerful ultimately because what it does is it shows us that the information that's coming from inside of us is valuable and real. So it's not just about trusting ourselves in a broad sense. It's really trusting the information that we're given and the inner wisdom and the inner guidance that the universe is bringing through us.
Yeah, well, the really illuminating perspective. And I'd love for you to share just a little bit more about how you've seen opening intuitive channels really starting to impact somebody's ability to affect the larger world in a deeper way.
Yeah, and it does really, that's really where it ends. It starts with our own personal change and learning to trust ourselves and make those courageous decisions, right? Because intuition calls us to be our best self, to bring creative energy into the world, to transform the world, to expand with the universe, right? So our intuition is our best friend. People are always like, oh, you have to be afraid of your intuition. People, there's all of this misinformation about intuition that's been handed out down to us throughout the years, but really you're never safer when you're trusting and following your intuition. That is the time in your life where you're most connected and most supported by the universe. So we all know famous last words, I didn't listen to my intuition, right? So starting at home, listening to your intuition with everything in your life, whether it's your relationships, really learning to relate to your partner, learning to connect to other people, to have empathy, to feel the commonality between human beings, whether it's in your job, your creative passion, your purpose, whatever part of life, your health. Health is such an important way to use your intuition, to really know what's right for your body and to listen to your body. And then once you start doing those things, you'll notice that there becomes a ripple effect. The things that you do around you start to have an effect on the people around you. And with time, you can make a huge impact by making very small changes. So it starts with changing ourselves, but really what intuition wants us to do is to change the world, is to expand the world, to bring us together, to open our minds, to really sort of, I think it's fostering the next evolution in human consciousness. We have so much untapped potential, so much underdeveloped aspects of our intuitive mind. So it's really time to start looking at that and focusing on it and say, what can we do with the intuitive mind when we actually open up to that in the future? What does that world look like?
So what do you find are the most important foundational practices and activations to really start to create that coherence, the depth, and the full power of intuition that you're describing?
Yeah, so we do intuition practice. I think working with it is very important. So creating more time to do nothing. I said whether it's meditation, going for walks, spending time alone, getting into that intuitive headspace, and then practicing with your intuition, which would be, you can work with my insight cards decks. We're going to do a little practice with that coming up in a little while, which is a great way to flex that intuitive muscle. To keep an intuition journal, to start keeping track of times when you've experienced these sort of out of the blue intuitive experiences or drop-ins. You just know something and you don't know why you knew it, or you have a feeling about something even though you have no information about that thing, right? That's the thing, like the calling cards of intuition are these sort of knowings and feelings that you have that don't seem to have an apparent source or don't have any rational way of knowing it. So that's sort of, you're in the intuition zone when you start having these sort of magical experiences. And the more you start to notice them, write them down, record them, put your intention on them, the more you energize your inner connection, and it opens up space for more of that to happen.
So it sounds like it's a lot about building a relationship with your intuitive mind, and the more attention you give, the more it's going to amplify. How does that build into what you want to do the demonstration with the insight cards? So maybe give an example of how you work with the cards to sort of build that relational connection with your intuition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I created these insight cards. It was sort of one of my dreams for years as I was developing intuition, to have an intuition development tool as a card deck, because I think that intuition can often be very visual. It's part of this sort of legacy of the ancient art of sacred seeing, where you look at something and you allow it to speak to you with guidance from the universe. And in the old days, the divine would speak to you through paintings or through religious images. Now we can use things like insight cards or any image really that you find beautiful and pleasing. Allow it to speak to you by, letting your intuition unfurl a message based on where your attention is drawn to the card. So part of intuition, what's really key, there's sort of two key facets that we're going to talk about, is first impressions and resonance. So one has to do with the mind, one has to do with sort of the heart, emotive aspect of intuition. So when you look at something, whether it's an insight card, which is really just a metaphor for life, these card pulls and activities, they get us to practice, using our intuition, seeing into our intuition, working with our intuition in a sort of a safe space so we can go out and do it in our life. So it's a really great daily practice that you can do working with these cards. First thing you do is you turn the card over and you look at it, you get that first impression, that drop in, right? And that teaches us to pay attention to those things that fall in out of nowhere. Because that, again, is another one of the calling cards of intuition. Ideas, thoughts, feelings that arise out of nowhere. Well, they're coming from somewhere. They're coming from the quantum field. And we're going to talk about that more in the program of how we receive that. So we open up to the quantum field when we're doing this work with the cards so that we receive these insights, and then also use our heart resonance to follow the imagery through the card to allow it to unravel a message of guidance from the universe. So it's really fun, and it actually creates all kinds of great synchronicities when you start to work with them on a daily basis, and gives us validation. And ultimately, that's what we need. When I teach intuition, I don't want you to take it from me. I want you to experience it for yourself. I want you to go out there and get evidence. This is evidence-based intuition. You're going to get to see signs and synchronicities that prove the things that you're getting and the ideas that you're receiving, so that you can build trust. Because my ultimate goal for everyone that I work with is to help them to build trust, understand their intuition, so they can know it and trust it 24/7.
That's great. Well, do you want to go ahead and lead into the actual working with the deck?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So folks watching, if you want to do this along at home, you can as well. And I just invite you right now to kind of think of an area. And Stephen, you can think of an area of your life right now where you just need a little bit of guidance or higher awareness. Starts off with a very simple intention. And then just take a moment within yourself to kind of set that intention. And I'll pull up the card deck while you do that. Do a little screen share here. So I'm gonna turn over the card, and then when I do it, Stephen and those of you watching at home, just notice the first thing you see on the card, right? So go to the first thing on the card and just sort of tune into your intuition and see how it speaks to you as somehow being related to your intention. And then after that, just allow your mind to kind of wander through the card, looking at the different imagery, and let that imagery unfold a story. It'll start to speak to you, and a message of guidance will start to come through. So just take a moment with your card, and then we can talk about it.
I found it. So I was obviously, the foreground is the scales that are sort of weighing both sides there. I was drawn to first figuring out what was on the left-hand side. It looked like a stack of coins, but it could also be like something else. It's a little small and it's not huge on my screen, but I was sort of drawn to that. And yeah, and then as wandering around, I feel like it's the same coloring as the bird on the right. So it sort of has a little bit of a yin yang kind of quality, that like the golden bird on the right and the left golden coins or something.
Yes.
And yeah, then I'm drawn to a little bit the top center of like the mountain, sort of layers of mountain peak that feels like it's sort of like there's a higher vista or a summiting of some kind. So
excellent. So starting off, did the little pile of coins resonate at all with your intention or connect to your intention somehow?
Yeah, I was asking about, I've been feeling called to do more writing, and I've got various potential avenues that things to work on, and I was been doing stuff more for the presidential campaign, and then I was a book of poetry, and then there's like a visionaries guidebook, and so it's a little bit getting a sense for what might be the best thing to focus on in terms of my own writing practice in this next phase.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So as you were doing that, right? So I can definitely see how that could start off with a message, and I don't want to put any of my thoughts on yours at this point. But so as you're sort of going through and bouncing over to the next thing you saw, that bird, I'm curious, did you have any thoughts or impressions that just kind of popped in, or anything that comes to mind as you're doing this? It might seem like it's your own thoughts, but sometimes just a phrase will pop into your head sometimes.
Yeah, well, I think the Visionaries Guidebook kind of concept has like feels connected to bird in many ways, because being able to see more widely, be a little bit freer and more expansive and being able to see things. Um, yeah, so it feels like there's sort of that, like the connection I would see with the gold coins is that free I do more coaching on and leadership development work with people on the side from Shift, and so that it would be sort of helping, be financially generative, to be, sort of empowering more people in their journey as visionaries. It's kind of how I would read that a little bit. Is it like that almost like the bird is more the visionary and the gold coins are a little bit how do you monetize your mission?
Beautiful. I 100%. I feel like that energy, just starting out with it, that, there is energy of prosperity around it, and that sort of balancing element too that seems to be important in this whole process. But also, the bird, the flying, the vision, the rising above, and the way that your energy went straight up to the point at the top, which was sort of that vista. It sort of only almost led a pathway to that. And so it really felt kind of like a beautiful message of encouragement, of opening of space, um, and really just kind of listening to yourself and your intuition.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So just to make it clear for everyone, so it sounds like there's no right answer with any of this. You just kind of like, is it intuitive, not only what you draw, but like what you're drawn to then?
Yeah, right. So the key with this, and some people sometimes think they're making this up the first time they do it, because it's easy to think, oh, I'm just saying, what I want to hear or whatever. But there's a couple things that are actually happening here. The first thing, these are developed to actually get your thinking mind out of the way. Because if we really want to start listening to our intuition, we have to stop overthinking. We have to stop being in control of what we think personally is the right outcome. So turning it over to your first impression, that first thought that pops in, that's an intuitive insight where your intention is drawn, went straight to that. So you start to focus more on interpreting a scenario than to actually thinking of the solution. And then before you know it, you find yourself in the middle of this sort of download and this flow that's really carrying you through this image with insight and leading you towards a message of guidance. So you're sort of relaxed, you drop in, and you flow through it. So it becomes more of a passive experience. So it's really cultivating a different way of thinking receptively, of thinking intuitively. And what's really fun, and what we're going to do in class, is after we do this for ourselves, we're going to go and do this with partners and different group members. It's optional. You don't have to do it if you want, but you have the opportunity to do that. And what's really great about that, Stephen, is when all of these synchronicities and validations start coming up. For example, your partner might end up pulling the same card for you, or your partner will come through with a similar message or see something similar on their card as you saw. So then you start seeing all these validations from the universe coming in, and the magic starts to happen. So these cards really open space, not just only for you to practice and flex your intuition muscle and learn to understand, what your intuition actually feels like, but also to get validations and signs that you're not just making this up, that this is real. And that's the thing about intuition. It's so subtle and it's so receptive. We can often confuse it with our imagination, but imagination is really just the gateway to intuitive insight and genius.
So it sounds like it's important that you don't come in with like a mindset that there's one interpretation of the card or whatever happens, that you're sort of allowing that to be almost the screen on which you project something internal.
Absolutely. It is 100% that I designed these so that there's no knowledge systems at work. You don't have to look any answers up or look for symbolism. It draws on whatever's inside you. So all of us can be looking at this card. If you use this card at home right now, you would have likely had a very different experience and received a unique message, because your intuition is uniquely for you, and it will show you the way through this card that's meant for you and your own personal message of guidance. I'll use a single card in a group with 50 people, and not a single person will have the same interpretation of the card. So it's really cool to see how intuition works, and how it really is such a personal act, and how the universe can use them to speak to us personally.
How would you then work with the what's coming through over time? So would you keep the card on your altar, or keep working with it, or just keep journaling on whatever comes up? How do you sort of then continue to deepen the relationship?
That's a great question. I always encourage folks to take a screenshot, put it on their desktop, print it out, or I have printed decks too. People will like to sit the cards out while certain cards are active at their life at certain times. I've been printing these cards for about 5 years now, and one of the things that again and again comes back is that people will say, "Oh, I've been pulling this same card for the past 3 months." What does that mean, right? Well, so cards will start to show up even electronically. You'll pull them in your deck. It's weird how it happens, but similar cards will show up when you're dealing with similar subjects. So that's a way of the universe saying, yeah, we're still working with this energy. There's a message for you here. Pay attention, keep listening, keep looking. And yeah, so you can begin to work with them over time. I love to encourage folks to have a journal. You can write down the different cards in your journal, but keeping them, bringing them into your meditation, gazing upon them, are also great ways to really deepen the insight they bring you.
Great. So I'd love for you to maybe dive a little bit more into the science side of this, since I think that's really particularly fascinating. What has science been showing us about the intuitive capabilities and how to sort of best cultivate it?
Yeah, and that's some of the most exciting things that I've really been working with over the past year, is really looking at contemporary physics and understanding, how does this all work? How is it possible for your intuition to work? And a lot of that's come out from our understanding of the unified field, and that there's actually a non-local quantum field that connects everyone and everything invisibly. And this really answers a lot of questions. It's the missing piece in understanding reality, especially from a metaphysical point of view. For centuries and centuries, we've had people reporting things like, paranormal experiences, supernatural experience, being able to see the future, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, ghosts, seeing ancestors, communicating with loved ones, you name it. There's been countless reports and experiences from people all around the world for centuries, and yet there's been this overarching sort of notion in Western society that, oh, it's not really real, or it's dangerous, or this is part of something that we should, it's forbidden knowledge that we shouldn't explore. But now we're understanding it's none of those things. It's just this mysterious part of reality that we haven't yet discovered. But now we're really, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have information so that we know that it's real, and it's actually operating under real laws of physics, from the quantum world, from the microcosmic world. So this is a really exciting time to be alive, because now we're starting to see that through the quantum world, we're actually able to do things that we were told was impossible. So talking about the quantum field, we realize that this sort of invisible reality surrounds us as an invisible realm of information, energy, and light that carries wisdom, information, and really all the data of the universe. So the ideas like the Akashic record that people would say, oh, that's sort of a woo-woo idea, but now we're realizing that, wow, the Akashic record's actually real. It's all stored in the quantum field. It's this compendium of everything that's ever happened. And guess what? It's accessible to your intuition. You can't read it with your rational thinking mind. You have to read it with your intuitive mind. So there's so much opportunity to start exploring, what we can really do with intuition when we start to learn to tap into that quantum field and what it holds.
Love for you to share. I know you also work some on the different intuitive channels, or just, each person is designed a little bit differently in how they get their intuitive information. Maybe share a little bit about that diversity of different inputs or areas that you can have intuition open up, and how you can prioritize that which is easiest or strongest for any individual.
Yeah, and this is a really fun way of exploring your intuition, because when radical intuition came out, we started talking about this holistic perspective of intuition. So what is it really? What is intuition really? Is it a gut feeling? Is it a knowing? Is it a sensation? Is it some sort of psychic prophecy? Well, we realize that intuition is all of those things. So I wanted to really create a holistic view of intuition that sort of showed us all the many different ways that intuition flows through us and guides us, because it's doing it all the time from all the sort of different aspects of our body. And it really comes down to the human makeup, which is, essentially in the Jungian tradition, body, mind, heart, and spirit, right? So if you want to look at it very simply, our intuition speaks to us through all of those things. Each one of those things is a channel that allows our intuition to download, to speak to us, to give us information. So through our bodies, right, we're able to pick up through our senses, through our sensors, right? We have these sensors all over our physical body that allow us to see things, hear things, feel things, right? So this is a huge way for us to experience psychic phenomenon, intuitive phenomenon, through our metasenses, through what people call the clairs, right? This is where our body actually processes intuitive information from the quantum field. We also process information from the quantum field with our thinking minds, right? We suddenly have a knowing. You just know you shouldn't drive to work a certain way, and you don't know why, but it's just like, nope, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go a different way. And it turns out there was some big traffic jam. You would have been late for a meeting, right? You'll have a knowing. And it's because there's a part of you, this part of you that knows everything, which is really key. It's understanding that you have a part of you that knows everything. We might not carry it all right here in our conscious mind, but that part of us is speaking to us all the time. And it can guide us and when we're not even expecting it. So those inner knowings, those little moments of clarity or of a push to do a certain thing that we're not sure where they're coming from the field and the part of us that knows something that we don't know. So inner guidance, right? That's key, the mind. Also the heart, the feelings, right? Not the personal ego feelings, right? Not the emotions, but the emotive energy, the passion, the drive, the callings that reach out to us and ask us to go out and make change in the world and do something great and to make a difference or to improve our lives or to live our best lives. All of these things, these heart-centered drives, are a very powerful part of intuition. It's very powerful for business, for leadership, for any kind of creative work, this heart center. So really important evolutionary force for humanity. And then finally, the spirit, right? Our eternal self, our all-knowing, ever-present being. This is how we really connect and commune with the universe, our true self, and really have those opportunities to have those beautiful mystical experiences and things that happen that we can't explain. And so this is a real beautiful sacred part of our experience with intuition. So understanding that we all sort of have these 4 channels working within us, bringing intuitive information into our consciousness and into the world, allows us to start working with it more consciously. And each one of these sort of types of intuition, channels of intuition, have an archetype. And you can we're going to do an assessment during the program where you can see what your intuitive archetype is. What kind of intuition do you naturally use? Which channels are naturally open? And then we'll start building on those and working with them. So all of those channels eventually open up so you can get more information, more clear information regularly.
Very cool. I wonder if you can sort of build a little further into the body aspect. And I know there's so much of what is taught out there around reading people, getting information, has to do with reading energy fields, and share a little bit about like how to work with the sort of the biofield and energy as a way to access more intuition as well.
Yeah, so we talk about the quantum field. That's sort of the universal field that's out there, that's everywhere, that connects us all. It's within us and without us, but we all sort of have our personal energy fields too. We call that the biofield, and that's the information that we store locally. The quantum field is non-local, which means it's everywhere, every when, all at once. That's how we can see the past and the future and sort of transcend time and space. But with our biofields, we can focus on the energy that we hold within us, or even that objects hold within them, right? Everything has its own biofield. And we're reading biofields all the time. When you meet someone new, you're talking to them, you see their physical body, but you're also responding to them energetically. Even beyond time and space. You don't have to be physically present for that energetic connection to happen. So when you start to become aware of this energy and really notice how when you meet someone, you might meet someone for the first time and just think something is off, right? You're just like, I don't know, they're saying all the right things, they seem really nice, but just something's off. And that's your intuition, right? Your intuition is reading and sensing that energy that they're storing in their biofield. And, maybe you find out later that they were like, mean to one of your friends or something like that. And you say, okay, so I had a way of invisibly connecting with this energy and receiving from it that I wasn't consciously aware of. So we can start to recognize when we're doing that in the future. You can also, this applies to everything though. It's from, antiques. If you antiques in your house, they hold that energy of the people that used to sit on them or be around them, or you really absorbs them. When you go to buy a new house, you want to read the field of that energetic space. You have like good vibrations, and even in sacred spaces. If you go out into nature, there's places where you can read those fields of the biofields of the trees and the different things that are present in different spaces in nature. So it's a fascinating area really to dive into, but we're reading biofields all the time. So using your intuition can really help you to kind of gain more insight into the world around you that you're interacting with constantly.
Great. Well, Kim, you're clearly a fountain of great passion and insight into this area, and I'm excited that this is not the end of the line for those who would like to go further to develop quantum intuition. So let's talk a bit about your upcoming program with Shift. And first, thank you so much for partnering with us on it. And the program is called 7 Keys to Activate Your Quantum Intuition: Practical Applications to Amplify Your Natural Psychic Abilities to Access Greater Wisdom, Insights, and Guidance. You can see it at the URL quantumintuitioncourse.com, quantumintuitioncourse.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites. You can be very advanced in your intuitive practice or really just starting to open that channel. And you will get great benefit from all of the work that Kim has done to synthesize best practices and help to activate this interface with you and the deeper wisdom that you carry. So Kim, I'd love for you to share in your own words some of your intentions for the program, and then I'll read out the module titles and you can give us a preview of what's coming in each.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to teach this program, and because mostly for me, this has really opened my eyes. Writing the book, The Illumination Code, and really doing this deep dive into the quantum aspect of intuition has changed the way that I view intuition and reality. And I really hope to really help other people to understand that intuition is a natural part of your life. It's an untapped potential within you. And then really to show you really practical, down to earth ways where you can use your intuition all the time to improve your life, no matter what you're doing, and really to live a better life, a happier life, a healthier life.
Great. So module 1 is called Discover the Part of You That Knows Everything to Unleash the Potential of Your Quantum Mind.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about intuition as a quantum phenomenon, what that means. Talk about this part of you that knows everything. There is this deep inner wisdom that you hold in your higher self, your true self, your all-knowing self, whatever word you use for that. We're going to dive into what that is, how to access it more. We're going to talk about non-locality, how this idea of everything happening all at once enables us to do these impossible things that we were once told was impossible. So we're gonna dig into what's possible with your intuition now from this new contemporary understanding of it, and begin with an intuition activation meditation. We'll do this together, and then we'll start working with some insight cards. So I think the first step is really to get warmed up during this program. We'll sort of get into our intuitive zone, activate, awaken our intuitive sensibilities, which are always there. We've all been using them. We just want to start using them more consciously. And then we'll work together to start getting some validations and some real evidence of intuition at work in your own life.
Module 2, open your 4 intuition channels for expanded access to the wisdom of your inner realms.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to get into those 4 channels of intuition, those 4 intuition archetypes, and you'll get to do some personal work to find out your natural intuitive style, how you're naturally using intuition, and what you can do to start opening up all the different channels of intuition in your life. We're going to do an actual intuition attunement meditation where we start to attune those 4 channels, open them up, get them flowing. I'm going to teach you practices that you can do at home, anytime in your life, to open up any of those channels that might be blocked. Because sometimes we have these intuitive blocks, and that prevents us from really taking these next step forward in our life and really opening up to our authentic self and finding happiness. So I'm going to work with you to open up any of those blocks, to attune your intuition, And then we're going to practice actually making a decision with quantum intuition. So we're going to do hands-on practice. Like I said, I don't want you to take any of this from me. This course is going to be about you doing this work and experiencing this magic yourself.
Module 3, explore the quantum field to discover who you really are and reveal the purpose of your life journey.
Great. And this is when we're going to start going into the Akashic field, diving into things like the Akashic records, understanding what all is held in this quantum field. How do I access more of it? What is my own particular methodology for doing this? What works well with my sensibilities? So we're going to work with your unique intuitive style, how you'll be able to work in your own way with your intuition to download insights from the field. And then we're going to work with the metasenses. You're going to learn which ones of the psychic senses that you also naturally use, and I'll teach you how to open them up and work with them in more deeply in your life. And then we're actually going to have some practice doing an Akashic field meditation, getting some information and guidance from that quantum field for your life. So I'll teach you a new way to do that so that you can continue to get insights for your life on a daily basis as you continue to move through your life.
Module 4, intuitively read your quantum body biofield to cultivate well-being and transmute your pain into power.
Yeah, this is a really fun section when we start working with biofields. As I talked about, there's so many different types of biofields that we're going to play with. We're going to work with these personal fields, your personal field, your aura, the energy that you keep around you. And we're also going to dive into the chakras and how we use our intuition to actually read the chakras, balance the chakras, open the chakras, all of those great things that have to do with energy sensing, because part of reading biofields is tapping into that sort of energy exchange and the energy that's being stored within them. So I'm going to teach you how to look into those fields, to read them, and to work with them to balance your own energy field. So, then we'll end up doing some work with our partners, and you'll do a chakra reading for yourself. Everyone's going to get a chakra reading, and also work with a partner to receive a chakra reading. So the great thing about this course is not only are you going to get practice using your own intuition, but when you work with a partner, you actually get to receive intuitive guiding messages in every class. So we'll be working every week so that you not only receive guiding message through yourself, but you work with a partner to get validation of that guiding message and to sort of bring in sort of intuitive wisdom from different channels in your life.
Module 5, transcend the boundaries of physical reality as you activate your limitless nature to manifest the life you want.
Yeah, this is when we dive into those impossible things, foresight, reading the quantum field beyond time and space, remote viewing. We're actually going to do some of these impossible things practices. So you are personally going to get to experience some impossible things in this module and learn how to do them at home in your life. So working together to tap into the quantum field, to transcend time, transcend space, be able to see beyond space, be able to look forward in time, look back time, even to our past lives, right? So we're going to practice doing some of those remote viewing things. I'm going to teach you how to remote preview things. It's a great way to get validation for your intuition on a daily basis with your life. And then we'll have some fun doing that together.
Module 6, discover your soulmates and past lives to gain insight into your relationships, personal challenges, and life themes.
One of the exciting things about quantum physics is this concept of entanglement. And entanglement shows us how we're connected to people and places and things through our emotions, through our thoughts, through our experiences. So we're going to dive into the things that you're entangled with. Soulmates are a really big topic when it comes to entanglement, because it allows us to look at the people that have been transformational in our lives and that we've entangled with. And the reason we entangle with people most of the time is for our own personal growth and our own expansion of consciousness. So we're going to look at different entanglements that you have and how they're fueling the expansion of your consciousness, and then even looking at your life journey arc beyond this life, because we know that we exist in more than just in this moment. So we're going to use this to look into our other lives, our past lives, our future lives, and look at this arc of the soul's journey and sort of look at where you are in this moment in time and what we can learn from the parts of those lives that are still active in your life today.
Module 7, meet your guiding forces and discover how life speaks to you personally with meaningful signs and synchronicities.
Yeah, and this is really sort of the end of the journey. The end goal with intuition is going into that deep dimension and transcending this reality and realizing that we are part of an ecosystem of interdimensional life and that we are actually uh, still communicating, interacting with those dimensions invisibly all around us. So, we're going to talk about signs and synchronicities, how they happen, why they're important, and how to get more signs in your life to guide you and to affirm your path. And then we're also going to look at your guiding forces, the teachers around you, the ancestors, the spiritual family that is around you supporting you, and how that works and interacts with your life on a daily basis. And then we'll do an illumination journey meditation, which is one of my favorite things to do with my class, is where I guide you on an inner journey. You'll get a chance to meet a guide or a teacher, discover something that you don't know about yourself, and actually receive a gift, a token gift that you can take out into your life for validation and future synchronicities for the rest of your life.
Well, what a super interesting and very empowering program you've laid out. Again, it's all laid out in detail at quantumintuitioncourse.com, quantumintuitioncourse.com. So if you choose to move forward, you'll get the 7 90-minute live sessions with Kim, which is going to include time to practice together, also ask your questions live. You also get recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts to work with, study, and highlight. There are weekly exercises for home. There's a Facebook community to support you and deepen your experience. There's small group time to connect with other participants. And on the page, you'll also see a number of extra bonuses that are Kim's chosen to really enhance your journey. There's a 42-card printable insight card deck that's a physical version of what we saw today that you can print out on your own laptop. Kim, you want to share a little bit more about having that available for everyone?
Yeah, it's great to have. Sometimes people like to have tangible cards. So I created this printable card deck so that you can print them out, use them anytime, anywhere. Even if you're not at your phone, you can't use the interactive one. We'll always have access to the online deck in class and for practice, but it's really great to have a physical deck. And then you can put them out, save the cards, put them in your journal, and really use them anytime, anywhere.
It's a great resource to have on tap. And there's another bonus that I draw your attention to. It's called Healing with Your Higher Power. It's a video teaching with Kim and Vanessa Cordonu. You want to share a little bit about that special bonus?
Yeah, that was a really great Shift Network conversation that Vanessa and I had about this idea of using your intuition to heal and to listen to your body. So I think that, when we're talking about the different channels of intuition, physical intuition, the body's intuition, it's very important to start listening to the way our intuition speaks to us through our body on a daily basis. So this talk is a great way. There's a little workshop involved. We have a practice that'll help you really starting to tune into your body's intuition and listen to how it's calling you to heal and grow and move forward.
And as if those bonuses weren't enough, we have one very special bonus. It's actually 10 daily workshops. This is our special bonus you get if you sign up right away by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is the 10-day Wake Up Your Intuition event. 10 daily workshops with Kim. You want to share a little bit more about that special bonus they get when they sign up today?
Yeah, this is a really powerful event and it's really designed to just sort of jumpstart your intuition. So it's a great thing. You can start doing it right now. It's a great way to get ready for the course. It's even a great thing to do in the beginning of the course because I have some conversations with some really great thought leaders about what intuition is. It's very educational in terms of looking at intuition from a broader sense, from creatives, from visionaries, from leaders, through spiritual leaders and wisdom keepers, and all of the different ways that intuition affects our lives. And then there's daily practices and meditations that you can do to start warming up your intuition so then we can hit the ground running when we meet together the first time.
Well, it's truly going to be a wonderful program, and that's a great reason to sign up right away. And we've kept the investment very accessible for this program. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start October 2nd, run Wednesdays at 9 Pacific, noon Eastern. But even if you can't make those live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. So I also want to direct you to the testimonials on the page. There's a lot of great testimonials about Kim's teaching, about her heart space she created, inspiration, higher vibration, esoteric wisdom, and scientific discovery. A lot of great testimonials about the power of Kim's work and the dedication to teaching you how to cultivate your own abilities. So again, you're in great hands, and you will get that special bonus of the 10 days, the 10 workshops of the 10-day Wake Up Your Intuition event when you sign up by midnight tonight. So, Kim, we're reaching the end of our time together. Anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering diving into the Quantum Intuition program with you?
Yeah, I'm just so grateful. Thank you for spending this time with us today and for listening and for really opening your heart and mind to intuition. I'm just so happy to be out here to be part of your journey and to really be doing all I can to help you rediscover that magic and wonder of life. And I think that in the end is what this all comes down to, is for all of us, you know, tuning in and realizing that we live in a universe of wonder, a universe of mystery. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more for us to uncover as we venture into the inner frontier. So I'm so excited to be here and to join you on many inner expeditions to come, hopefully.
Right. Well, Kim, thank you so much for your passion and your dedication to really lifting the intuition for everybody. I know that intuition is really at the heart of how we create a larger shift in our own lives and ultimately the world, because when we can plug into those higher forms of guidance, we're connected to our souls, to other allies, to the larger intelligence of the universe, and we just design a better life and a better planet when we do so. So thanks for helping us all to channel our abilities to the next level. So again, it's all laid out in detail at quantumintuitioncourse.com, quantumintuitioncourse.com, if you want to go deeper with Kim into 7 keys to activate your quantum intuition. And you'll get that special 10 workshop bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight, which is called the 10-day Wake Up Your Intuition event. So thank you so much. Thank you, Kim. Many blessings.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everyone.